on air. I want to message you in the private chat here.
Okay.
There you go.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
Oh man, it was
At
perfect.
least it wasn't. At least it wasn't live, right? Or was it?
No,
It
I
was
mean like,
after.
well, I mean, Brian doesn't listen to the Crusade channel, so what was live afterwards was live. I mean, like that's the public thing. Did I post that this week? I posted that this week, didn't I?
Yes.
I'm
I'm just gonna guess that it wasn't heard or interpreted because I think I would have heard about it. One of us would have heard about it.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm insulated. Hey, Jay May's already in there. Morning, Jay. Okay. Oh,
Certainly, Kinsey would have reached out to me to find out the background and get the gossip and the tea.
Now, hey, just to let, we are live right now. We are streaming right now. So just to heads up.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good.
Just want to make sure. Need to get one of those big live on air signs. Okay, we got about 25 seconds.
There is one, by the way, up in the corner. It says live, 1:42, 43.
Oh, can you see that? Yes. I wasn't sure if you knew. Oh, you know what? I think I'll pull that up real quick. All right, we've got 5 seconds. Welcome to the Breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible study and sent to therapy. Thank you also very much for the opportunity to be in your vehicle, office, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse, wherever it is you may be listening to the Breakdown today. Big show today. Drag queens, queer Bible courses, and androgynous idiots. All of that coming up in the show today. Can't wait to get into that with you. Don't forget to support the show. Head on over to Rumble and you can listen to the program there. You can also go to YouTube. They've allowed us back on graciously to be there. And you can also check us out on the Crusade channel, live radio, the way it should be, and hang out with us over there. It would be fantastic to see you all. And we are, of course, as mentioned, on Rumble, where you can chill with us and have an absolutely fantastic time. As always, joining me right now is the lovely misinformation herself, Erica Sauer. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning.
How has your you've been battling like a hockey player this week? Are you do you still have all your teeth?
I still have all my teeth. I've just been fighting this really serious cold. It's been kicking my butt this week.
Something's going around. Something really has been going around. And a lot of people are a lot of people that I know have been sick with something, and it's just congestion and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean it's the next death spread of a horrible, disgusting death is what it is.
Okay, come on, stop. It's winter. It's winter.
No,
come on.
It's the elite. They're trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us.
Stop it.
Oh, man. By the way, you all can join us as well by going to aaronbarker.substack.com. It is there where you'll be able to join and hang out with us as we do the show and as it's posted up through the week. And beginning, well, we're not going to release it this Wednesday, but we do have a new show that's coming out. I already have our first interview scheduled with a gentleman by the name of Marcus Pittman, who started Lore TV. And he's going to be talking to us with his take about the Lamar Kendrick and the importance, the cultural moment, the defining moment that happened on the Super Bowl stage during the halftime show, which is really, I mean, it's a really, really great approach to it. I think it's really awesome. And so we're going to be talking to him about that. And that show will be posted up and you all can join that show. Get yourself ready. Just head on over to aaronbarker.substack.com and get yourself signed in, follow that page. And get ready for the new show that is going to explode onto the internet, and nothing can stop us, Erica. At this point, absolutely nothing can stop us now. I have no idea why I said that. I feel like
Ain't no stopping us now.
and we can build this dream together. What's that? Isn't that from Over the Top?
I don't know, but
Stop us now. I'm gonna
thank
that
God we're
then.
not auditioning for a musical.
That's the other part. We're going to be singing. There will be a musical interlude, and we will be doing duets. So we'll be all kinds of singing.
Overdrive is now karaoke.
And it's like the on Monty Python, where the king has his son locked in the tower, and he's like, "I don't want to marry her. I just want to sing." No, there'll be no singing. No singing. Oh man,
God.
yeah. So here's this right. This is just a jump in here. We're going to jump into the chum bucket to plumb the depths of the internet's most fascinating accounts of the life and world in which we live. Now, you've done DoorDash before, Uber Eats, right, Erica?
Correct.
Yes. You're like, correct, absolutely. So
yeah, on
I
the
don't know if this
daily.
has ever,
No,
you know,
not on the daily, but at least twice a week. Yes, and I'll do it with my groceries if I need to.
Well, absolutely. There is, I don't, out of all of this stuff that's happened, I don't think that that I am more glad after COVID about the click list pickup or the grocery delivery as I have been about anything, because I absolutely loathe grocery shopping. And when I can have them delivered to my door, I will pay the extra couple of dollars to have them delivered to my door, so I don't have to shop or search for the crap.
Yep. And I've even got it down to a science where I don't have to order anything perishable from them, and I can still get farm stand vegetables and run by the butcher. And I'm good. Like, I don't have to worry about them picking out my meat or my bananas or whatever. I'm fine with that. That's right in the front of the store. I can run in and go to the butcher and run out, and I'm done. And I like it better that way.
Yes. And we're actually in this process now where we're going to be we're going to be trying to find other places besides just one, because you shop at like Kroger or whatever. That's what we have around here. I know people have Piggly Wigglies or Publix and all that stuff. But we're trying to consolidate. We're not consolidate. We're trying to spread it out, where we go here for grocery or for like produce and stuff, and we go here for other things. Like, we're really going to start having to cramp down because of the way the prices are going. And I know that's something we should have done, but after the fire and after the convenience and all that stuff, it was just like, we're just, kind of on autopilot. We don't want to go grocery shopping. We want to go, because I used to go to like Kroger, then I'd go to Aldi, and then I'd go to Walmart for some things. And I'd do like 2 or 3 shops to go grocery shopping, and it was rough. So
yeah, there is no way I would do that. That's a level of commitment that I don't have to getting food.
Well, you know what they say, a penny saved is a penny earned.
Yeah, we'll spend all that gas driving from place to place and then tell me where your numbers land.
You know what, Erica? Don't poo-poo on everything, okay?
Sorry. It may still work out in your favor. I'm for it. It's all good.
So
what are we door dashing?
So DoorDash, and this guy DoorDashes. Well, so a woman orders a DoorDash, and instead of her liking what she sees with the food, this gentleman liked something that he saw, and he just had to go back to the house and ask. Here's an interaction.
Hi, man.
How's it going?
I'm sorry, I just dropped off an order for a girl. I was just wondering, I had a question while I was driving away, if she was single or not.
For
I think her name started with E.
Esther?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my wife.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry, man. Really, I'm sorry. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Sorry, man.
Yeah, she's 47 years old.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Erica, you're door dashing, and this dude comes back. He's like, I like what I saw. And he came back and asked the guy if the chick was single. And so the comment section over this, yeah, I can hear the sigh. The comment section on this is crazy. But go ahead.
I just, hmm. Nothing really shocks me anymore. But maybe the fact that he didn't second guess it when the dude answered the door, like, at that point, I think I would have said, "Hey, I was just trying to see if I could get, the person I delivered to give me a five-star rating on DoorDash. I'm really trying to get my rating up." And, whatever, like, play it something. Don't say that. What is wrong with you?
I
You
mean,
know?
yeah, I mean, like, so in this culture where we have guys that are so afraid to ask girls out on dates, or they're afraid to approach women, or they won't say things like we're dating or she's my girlfriend. They'll say, well, we're talking. Well, now we're talking. Like they can't even commit to saying that they're in a stage of their dating relationship where they're going steady or whatever, like it used to be in the 60s. But like, the dude had some guts. He went back to the house and asked whether or not this woman was single. Now, the
I
thing,
applaud that part.
yeah.
I applaud that part, just maybe. Or maybe at 47 she looked or maybe she's quite a bit younger than the man that answered the door. We don't know that. We don't know how old he was. So maybe it wasn't obvious that perhaps they were in a relationship, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he said she's 47 years old. Maybe the kid's into cougars and he thought that guy was her father, so he was saying. But
very
you
possible.
would think at that age that she wouldn't be living with her parents. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I
I don't
mean,
know. There's just a thought process that didn't happen in here. Little synapse
well,
breakdown.
yeah, I mean, and the guy was like, "Oh, she's 47." Like the dude's walking away, he's already not interested, and he just throws out there, "She's 47." Like, well, first off, hot is hot. It doesn't matter. I mean, well, 18 and above. I should say that. Oh gosh, what
You
did I
should have
just say?
taken it as a compliment, right? Like the kid was
Exactly.
leaving and he say something like no hard feelings or like no disrespect or whatever. He was like,
Yeah,
whatever.
he was apologetic for sure. He was apologetic. Let me see if I can pull it back
It's
up here.
kind of
Watch because
funny.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like the guy's got some guts.
Hi, man.
How's it going?
I'm sorry. I just dropped off an order for a girl. I was just wondering. I had a question while I was driving away. If she was single or not.
For
I think her name started with E.
Esther?
Yep.
Yeah, that's my wife.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, man. Really, I am sorry. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. Sorry, man. I'm
Yeah,
out there.
she's 47 years old.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fine with finding out that she was married. He was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm walking away."
I guess
Oh
what
my
a lot of
god.
people were upset about, where they're like, well, first off, when I, like, because you know how women are, like when I order food, one woman said, when I order food, I just want to deliver my food. I don't want to be checked out or whatever it is. They don't want to have creeps coming back to their door, knocking on their door. I'm pretty sure that if this gets back, he might lose his job over this,
Oh,
because
okay. I think that's ridiculous. You are, and now I'm gonna put myself in this category. I already said I order DoorDash like twice a week.
yeah,
I thought you were gonna say when you're a woman and maybe you're by yourself and you order food, you don't want to feel like the driver might come back and hit on you, right?
right,
Okay, so
right,
that's a thing. I guess because I carry, I'm not worried. That doesn't occur to me to worry about that. But I think that part I can see from a safety perspective. You're like, okay, that's creepy. My Uber driver or like my DoorDash driver is coming back.
yeah.
That's it, you don't from a safety perspective, but I don't want to be checked out while my food's being dropped off. Shut up. That's human nature. Stop it.
Oh
Stop.
yeah, yeah,
Just
absolutely.
stop.
Yeah, like
Stop.
you,
If you don't want to be checked out, then answer the door with a towel on your head and a moo okay? And
yeah.
some Crocs, and you'll
Or
be fine.
you just make it to where it's like, leave it at my door, don't knock or anything like that. There are people that do that. They're like,
Right.
packages, deliveries, whatever, don't knock, just leave it on the door or text or whatever. Yeah, I mean, like it is human nature. I think this expectation, like, and that's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons that that guys are so afraid in some instances to say something to a girl or to approach a woman. As so he called her a girl, which by the way in the comments some women are mad about that because she's a
Oh my
47-year-old
God.
woman, not a girl. And but I think
She
that's
should, it's a compliment.
I think it is. I mean, like young lady, woman. I mean, I usually refer to women as young ladies or lady or something like that. I mean, girls, I don't think that's offensive. But
The
I'm a dude.
only way,
I'm a pig, I guess.
yeah, no, the only way that there's a woman that's upset that he called her a girl, that he misaged her, is some old hag that nobody's gonna think is any younger than she really is. Like
Yeah.
that, or it's a young woman who isn't old yet. I mean, you just don't know what it's like to be older and how why that would be a compliment. He's not calling her a child. Give me a
Yes.
break.
Yeah, for real, for real. One of the people out here commented, and she said, "Older guys out here thinking their older wives aren't attractive anymore. Some even cheat or leave for younger. Bet he got a wake up call when a young man came asking about his older wife. Like, I mean, I think my wife gets hotter as she gets older. But I'm just that's just I don't understand this whole thing of like you becoming less attracted to your spouse as you get older. But she's probably right there. Like, a lot of these, maybe this dude's taken for granted. Like she's 47. Yeah, she's 47. But if she looks good and this guy's hitting on her, I mean, maybe that's something you need to start paying attention to a little bit more,
Yeah,
Um,
right, right.
but yeah, I mean, some people talk about the safety issue. It's like, hey, should he come back and all that stuff? First off, kudos to the guy because he had guts to do it. Second, I mean, like, it is a little bit tactless to hit on somebody like that. I always felt like when I Ubered, I always felt like there was this wall of if you're an Uber driver and there's an attractive person with you in the car. First off, I always tried to make sure that I didn't say or do anything that made young women feel uncomfortable around me or women in general. So it was just like, I don't know, I always felt like a little awkward and I wasn't even trying to get a date or hit on anybody. But I always felt just a little awkward there because I didn't want anything to be perceived as such. But this, I don't know. I hope the guy doesn't get fired. But again, I don't know. The guy could be an axe murderer. I
Yeah.
mean, he could be looking for his next victim.
Just a side note, if I had to try to not say anything to make anyone uncomfortable, it would be a silent Uber ride. Like I'm pretty sure I'm just not gonna say anything at all. If that's my objective is don't say anything to make anyone uncomfortable, I'm done.
Just don't
Mute.
speak. I did that, by the way. Like when I was out of town, and I was just like I'd been traveling, and I'm like I needed an Uber from the airport to the hotel, and I pulled because I don't Uber unless I travel. I don't Uber in at home, because we don't go out drinking or anything, so I don't need a designated driver. But I requested in the Uber app for the temperature to be cold, for there to be no conversation, and like I think there was something else, but it was one of these things where I'm getting in with my AirPods in, and they're on noise control. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want you to talk to me. And I got in, and the first thing the dude started doing, so how was your flight? Well, you coming in? You understand for business? I'm like, I requested that you not talk to me. Why are you talking to me, peasant? Drive, peasant. Don't speak to me. Roll up the window in the limousine, sir. I don't want to hear your words.
Oh my God. Have you seen that trick on TikTok where those two girls are posting them sitting on the airplane and the one girl gets the window and the other one takes the aisle, and the girl at the window puts her arm in the middle seat and they put a hoodie over it and it looks like a child sitting in the middle seat.
No. Oh no.
And so everyone thinks the seat's full and no one sits there and they're like, high five.
I haven't seen that, but I have heard that people are like on some of these flights when you buy first class, they're allowing you to buy all three or like both seats or all three seats in the first class row, and they're charging like a boatload of money for it.
Well, they don't care. They just want
Yeah.
the money. They don't care if there's a body in the seat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can, I mean, that was, I remember that was a big thing about the, fat people having to buy multiple tickets because they had spillage that was going into the other
Spillage.
seat. I'm always
I think we
self-conscious.
call those overages. I don't think
Overages?
spillage is the word. Yeah, overages. It's
That sounds better than
like because
spillage.
then you can use it anywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, an overage could be shipping, trash, people. You've got an overage.
Overage. Okay. I guess your spillage does sound a little weird. By the way,
It
JB
sounds.
over what's that?
No, go ahead.
JB over in the Crusader Stadium chat room says height of tackiness. The DoorDash driver is what she called there. And by the way, you are listening to us, or you can listen to us at the Crusade Channel, live radio the way it should be by going to crusadechannel.com. And let's scroll through the chat here real quick. It says, let's see, Audrey says, I Instacart, Uber Eats all the time. I only hit up the farmer's market or the local butcher. I try to avoid people as much as possible, which is really weird because, considering what she does. Maybe that's why she avoids people. J-May says that she uses a local butcher and it's so much better and so much more affordable, which I really need to get into that. Mike Church does a show over on the Crusade Channel on Fridays. It's Free Farm Friday. They've been talking about that stuff for years, but I've never looked into getting a butcher over here in my area. That's something I need to think about. Let's see. And let's jump into this since we did talk about the flights here. Did you see this flipping of the airplane this week? This upside down plane
I did.
in Toronto, the Canadians. Oh, that's another segue. Canadians, the Canadian flight here. This is footage here. Let's take a look at the footage from the actual moment. I don't know why this pilot was filming this from another cockpit of another plane, but here is the actual moment that this plane flips upside down. And I could just, this is absolutely, to me, completely just incredible. Here we go. Oh, there's some language in here, by the way.
Oh, no. Oh, Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into 3.
So when the plane came down, I don't know if it was, I'm not a pilot, so I can't break this down too much on the pilot side, but it looks like there was an awfully hard hit right there. And when the plane hit, it pitched to the right wing snapped off. And because it's an airplane and because it's still going at high speeds, because, there's physics, the wind began to still lift on that left wing and it just flipped over on its top. And people were suspended upside down, even to the point where like folks were filming themselves hanging upside down. But here is some of the footage from inside the actual plane of people that were evacuating on the inside. So let's check that out too. Let's see. Here we go. People are literally hanging upside down. Just super calm. See that person right there? Like that woman right there, or that dude or whatever, just they're super calm. We can pick out who has ADHD in here. That woman has ADHD. Super.
Everything, drop it. Come
That
on.
sort of grabs that woman's tail end. I don't know if she does that.
Don't take your hand off. On the right.
He's going to start swearing.
Yeah, they bleeped it out on this.
Okay.
Thanks for the heads up.
Holy. Oh my God. Yo, I was just on this plane. Oh my God. Yo, I was just on this plane. Holy.
So I'm assuming, like, if you look at the way that these people are hanging, it would no longer be spillage on this. It would be like porridge, because they're
Porridge.
they're upside down.
I don't know a lot about flying, landing, taking off. I don't even know how fast you have to go to take off. Okay.
572.8 miles an hour.
In my just experience as being a passenger in an airplane for, 54 some odd years. I think I took my first flight at like 3, right? I just feel like the nose was very low. It hit hard, but the nose itself seemed low so that when it hit, it almost looked like the front hit too and bounced, and that shouldn't happen. That front landing gear should not touch on the first hit,
Yeah, they
right?
were saying that there was. You're absolutely right, because I gauge, like, whenever I'm on a plane, of course, and it stops, like that initial land or whatever, how it whether or not you're dealing with a good pilot. Of course, it doesn't matter because you've already landed now. If you have to wait to the
Right.
landing to determine if it's a good pilot or not, but here it is. Yeah, like when it hits,
It looks flat. Like,
it
I
does.
feel like the nose should be up more, and that's a totally uneducated that's just my opinion. I think these people are incredibly lucky that the wing ripped off because the fuel tank was on fire.
Oh yeah.
The wings are loaded with fuel, right? I mean, I think at least I have that part right.
And it wasn't
So
full. It wasn't full. So it was like it was, because they just got out of a flight, so it wasn't like it was topped
right.
off. But
I
but
I I just think overall, with everything that's been going on lately, is anyone comfortable flying?
oh man.
Like, there's been a lot. There's been a
I
lot.
I don't know why. Maybe it was because but when I fly with Allison, she spoils us because she'll get, like, like Comfort Plus, which does have extra space in the seats for you. It has a little bit more. It has some drinks that are available, so you can get you, an adult beverage on the plane. When I flew in other capacities, like with business or whatnot, um, it was different because I couldn't get the upgrades. So I was in, like, row 26A or something like that. And I was very closed in because I'm a big dude. I felt very closed in. I started getting more claustrophobic than I normally get, started to get a little bit more anxious. And that was before all of the aviation disasters we've had this year. So I don't know. Flying is becoming less and less appealing the older I get. All right, folks, when we get back, we're going to be talking about more of today's news and topics. So keep it locked in right here on The Breakdown. We will see you on the other side.
Asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible studies and sent to therapy.
You're listening to The Breakdown.
All right, we are currently on a breaker. Oh boy, I can't put that one up. Let's put this one up. There we go. Yeah. But yeah, like that was one thing, like as far as traveling and stuff, Allison always makes sure that there's things that she does that I didn't realize the amount of stuff that she did when we travel. And when I started doing, like, with work or business or whatever, it was so different. And I was like, how in the world does she make it feel so much more comfortable when I'm with her? Maybe it's just because I'm with her, but
Well, that helps.
it does. When you fly with somebody or somebody, well, I don't want to say that, when I fly with her, that because, like, if you fly with people you work with, I'm still like, look, just please don't talk to me in the airport. I just want to, I have a process, and I don't want you part of the process.
Oh, I
What do
will.
I get?
If you started a random conversation with me at an airport, my first response is going to be, "Do I know you?"
Well,
That's it.
I always hear, like, our pastor does a lot of traveling for, like, speaking engagements and stuff. And he's always talking about how when he's on an airplane, he witnesses to people, talks to them about Christ and ministers to them. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's not that I don't necessarily, I mean, I don't know. I just feel uncomfortable in that tight space. I don't know. I commend him for doing it.
You
I
know,
don't feel comfortable doing it.
I never thought about that. He has a different purpose because normally when I'm traveling, especially if I'm in an airport, it's because I'm either going on vacation, so I don't want to talk to you, or I'm going somewhere to actually have to talk to people. But
Yeah.
I'm not traveling there to do that I'm not trying to evangelize anyone. I'm just trying to get from point A to point B.
It's entirely my fault. It's my fault every week when I don't let you know the clock, because I don't know anymore. Used to when we
Oh, I
did the
didn't think
breaks.
that was
I had a
bad.
timer. What's that?
I just talked over it a little.
You're fine. Yeah. I just don't want you to feel self-conscious or anything. All right, so here we are
Okay,
back to
listen.
breakdown. Thanks, folks, for staying with us. Upside down planes and Uber or DoorDash drivers hitting on their customers. And let's do this here because Erica's been having a nice little time with our Canadian brothers and sisters, just north of the border, And this is why. So, Erica, you're a big hockey fan. Anybody that knows you will know this. It's the Knowles, and then there's hockey. And here
Correct.
is this. This was now. Give us a little bit of background on this because I don't know. This is a Canada versus USA game. Is this normal? Does this happen a
Okay.
lot?
No. So usually it's only in the Olympics when you have international competition, but the NHL has decided that they don't really like, you know how the NBA has an All-Star game and you have the Pro Bowl and the NFL, right? They don't really want to do that anymore, so they, instead of having an All-Star break, they had this Four Nations tournament, and they took the 4 top-rated teams right now in the world and brought them together to play in this round robin tournament. It was Sweden, Finland, Canada, and the United States, right? So in the first game between the US and Canada, one of the Canadian players that plays for the Boston Bruins, which is my team, our captain actually, goes to the United States team and says, just so you guys know, that they're planning on booing the national anthem. That's all that happened prior to the game starting. And then you had 4 fights in the first 9 minutes after they did boo the anthem, and they proceeded to get pounded on for 3 straight periods by the United States.
like literally and in the sport. So, but
Physically, and they lost the game. I mean, it was just disgusting behavior.
here's the beginning of this. So this is what happened that kind of helped. I guess they do each of the countries involved their national anthems, but here's this. Okay, I can break. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
So Canada is booing the U.S. national anthem.
And live, it was a lot easier to hear the booing.
And the louder that the anthem got, they ended up booing louder too. So it was commiserate with their
Right.
with the singing. So they were booing that, and then like literally, you said within 14 seconds, they were already going at it on the ice.
Yeah, it was actually 4 fights in the first 9 seconds of the game. Like, so you have like only 6 players on the ice in the first 14 seconds of the game because you have penalties being thrown out all over the place.
Wow.
And I mean, kudos to Brad Marchand for letting the team know ahead of time because they had time to at least decide how to react. And then I mean, and in the end of the tournament, Canada ended up beating the United States in the final game the other night in overtime, 3-2, and it was totally unfortunate. But ever since this night, I've been fighting with Canucks all over social media. And gosh, like, tell me you're Canadian without telling me you're Canadian. They don't even know that they live in a oh god, it's been so frustrating.
I thought that Canadians were super friendly and nice.
Are you kidding me? God.
No, I mean like you hear that all the time. Like Midwesterners, like oh, Midwesterners are really nice, and then like Canada, oh, they're really nice, eh?
Have these people not seen Letterkenny or Shoresy?
Oh
You
my
need to
gosh,
learn about the
Letterkenny.
real Canada. I'm sorry.
Oh
No, they're
gosh.
not nice. And no, they don't like you at all. They probably hate you as much as like the Iranians. They're not your friends. They're not your friends.
Poor old Canadians. I mean, like American Canuck Radio. You remember that? I mean, he's still going at it, isn't he? Whenever you say Canuck, I think about that.
Okay, but he also has dual citizenship and was born in the United States.
Oh, I didn't know he was born in the U.S. Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Nice little
his
plug for
parents are
Mike
from
Fields.
Michigan. His wife is Canadian.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
So he has dual citizenship, and that's why I'm not hating on Americanook Radio. I mean, that's why he calls it that, because he's half American and he's got dual citizenship,
Oh yeah,
right?
no, I'm not. I just that's what I. Whenever somebody says Canuck, I always think of that. And
I just don't come at me about your rude behavior during what should be a great tournament. Like, all of the other games were amazing. It's great. I do agree with the Mind of Zoe in the chat where he was saying, Russia should have been in the Four Nations. I totally agree. If you're talking about who are the top four on the planet, Russia is definitely in that and should have been included. And they wouldn't let him compete because of the situation with the Ukraine.
oh wow. Well, that's what is this here? This just
Oh,
popped.
Guru corrected me also. He says Mike's mom is Canadian, not his wife. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, they thank you for telling me that. Thank you for correcting that. We want true, accurate information here. We don't want any of the fake crap.
Yes,
Not that you're giving fake
absolutely.
news, Erica. We just
I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be incorrect.
yeah, well, I don't want to be. I mean, it's very, very uncommon. Like earlier when I said 572 miles an hour is how fast you have to be going in an airplane to take off. It's actually 150 to 180 miles an hour. Who knew? I mean,
I didn't. I
evidently
told you
Googled
I
it.
didn't know, so I didn't even know that was wrong.
I meant kilometers, but it's still 240 to
shit.
285 kilometers per hour to do. So I was way off on both of them. I'm like, I was wrong on all accounts. Make up my own light years. It takes that's how many light years it takes to take the plane. The plane needs to take off. So all right, now let's move on to the next one. Okay. What do we want to do here? What kind of time do we have here? Let's go ahead and jump into some of this JD Vance stuff. Have you heard any of this from JD Vance this past week, Erica?
What he's saying, or
What he's like he was at CPAC and he was invited, or he was being interviewed by a, let's see, it says Vice President JD Vance said he believes mainstream culture in the U.S. is attacking masculinity. He was being interviewed by Mercedes Schlapp, and they were talking
oh
about
yeah,
they were talking about masculinity, his message to young men, etc. Now there's a longer speech. I couldn't find the longer clip of just him saying this, but I did find a reel, and this is what he started off saying in his answer to a question. So here we go. We get back to the beginning of this. This is a multimedia extravaganza today. We're doing all kinds of videos. So here we go. Here's JD Vance to CPAC this past week.
But our cultural message is, I think that it wants to turn everybody, into, whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that. But our culture.
So there's JD Vance. All right. Now the way that he's addressing this, the way that he's looking, the way that he says this here, I agree 100% with this. First, we talk about the fact that earlier men are scared to death to approach women. They lack commitment. They don't want to say certain things when it comes to dating, etc., because they become scared of the opposite sex. And then you have the cultural lies that tell us that men and women are the same. And although they are created in the image of God, there's still differences that should be celebrated, differences that should be discussed and talked about, when instead we're completely trying to destroy any of the lines that exist between men and women. But one of the things that he said here, he said that that Schlapp also asked Vance about his highly publicized speech at the Munich Security Conference in Germany, in which he denounced curbs on free speech in various European nations. He reiterated his position, saying the greatest threat in Europe is European governments sending millions and millions of unvetted foreign migrants into their countries. But continuing on with what he said about men, he said that he wants obviously men to thrive as young men and young women, and are going to help public policy to make it possible to do that. I think it's great to have this type of strong support for masculinity and strong support of the differences between the men and women to be lauded. I for so long we've had these blurred lines and this confusing rhetoric coming from our government and from institutions that try to rob individuals of what makes them special or what makes them different. And to hear this type of talk to support at least a hat tip to biblical manhood and womanhood is encouraging to me.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, it actually supports it may be a comment talking about masculinity, but it's actually supporting women, right? By saying that these are the two genders and we're going to support that and you're going to be allowed to be that is what that's what we need. Like so he may not be mentioning it like they want to come at it as always supporting all this toxic masculinity or whatever. Yeah, but
Right.
by doing that, he's actually allowing women to be women.
Yes, he is allowing women to be, and I don't understand this type of this type of misunderstanding here. Here is this is the response from CNN. Now brace yourself. This is the response from CNN because they
Brace
comprehend what it means in this regard and what JD Vance is talking about. So here's this. It's a little bit longer of a clip, and we can kind of pause and talk our way through it here as well. But this is what they were saying on CNN after this clip went viral.
Masculinity is power, but I think it's power under control. I think it's knowing who you are, and not having to brag about it. I think it's being able to take what you want, but having the discipline to actually ask for it. I think it's being able to relate to women in a way where you understand what they want, but you have enough discipline and wisdom to kind of stand back and let them figure it out for themselves. I think that masculinity is a work in progress. It doesn't have any one definition. When he talks about telling jokes, I'm wondering, telling jokes about what? Telling jokes about
That's what
who?
I'm wondering.
What are you talking about?
Let me play this other part of what he said, because I think it also fills out the picture of where he thinks Trump fits into this.
I think this is why young men in particular are so, they're so inspired by President Trump, is because he doesn't allow the media to tell him he can't make a joke or he can't have an original thought. President Trump just says what's on his mind. That's a damn good thing, and it's a good example to set for young men in American culture.
I think you would agree that Trump also insults people in childish ways and doesn't take jokes well. I mean, these are also things that Trump does. I mean, is that the role model?
I think President Trump likes to exaggerate on a lot of things. I mean, we've seen it all along. But you have a situation here where you look at the campaign, the young vote was huge for Donald J. Trump. It was huge.
And I love this part right here.
What caused that? And it's what JD's talking about. A situation where did Donald Trump go? He went to the UFC fights. He had Hulk Hogan with him. I can go on and on and on.
A paragon
all
of masculinity is Hulk Hogan.
All these things, which brought in the young vote to Donald J.
You
Trump.
mean the young male vote, I assume.
Young male vote. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Trump, to be clear, Trump lost young voters.
He what?
He lost young voters.
Yes, but he made massive gains among
we have the numbers. I mean, he did better among young male voters against Harris than he did against Biden. So that was the change.
I mean, you look at that statistic right there first. That one was like he lost young votes. Actually, he lost 41 to 52 in 2020, but in 2024, Harris lost 4% of support, and Trump gained 8% in support of young male voters ages 18 to 29. Now, the thing that annoys me here, and I'm going to address this because, speaking as a man, I have daughters, and so I'm not like I'm not a feminazi or anything like that. I do want my daughters to have a fair shake. I don't want them to be treated like crap because they're women. I want them to be able to, for their merits, be chosen for positions. It doesn't matter what sex they are, as long as it's not, holding a gun and fighting in needless wars. But I don't want any any sex to do that, male or female. But what they're addressing here is they're not addressing the actual core tenets of masculinity. They're not addressing what it is to be a man. They make comments here like, oh, well, he says telling certain jokes. I go, okay, well, joking and saying something stupid is not what makes a man or doesn't make a man. Discretion does make a mature person. You know, women understand that there are some things you say and some things you don't say. Men understand that there are some things you say and don't say. They're not addressing the commitment that comes behind being a man, the care that comes behind being a man, as far as stepping up and taking care of your family. It's offensive now in this culture to say that a man's role and responsibility is to be a provider for his family, a protector, and a defender of his family. That is offensive, because automatically there's a flex from women. Well, we can do it too. Well, you can't do it the way that a man does it, because that's not your job. That's not what you're built for. We're not built. Men are not built to carry kids. You are. When you're carrying a child, you're vulnerable. You're slower. You're weaker. In your body, you get sick. But a man is there to protect, to defend, to watch over you while you're pregnant, and then when that child is born, to be there and to provide for that child while you rear the child and take care of that. That's not a Stone Age approach to masculinity.
It's not
That's an intelligent one.
It's not a Stone Age approach. I think it actually goes a little bit further. Okay. So, number one, I don't want some skinny jeans wearing long hair, nose pierced person who doesn't know the definition of a woman deciding policy. Let's go there, right? I also think you're correct on everything, to the point of going further. Not only is he there to protect you while you are weakened in your pregnant condition, and you are. That's just a fact. And that's okay, right? That's for you to do. And then he's also there when you're the nurturing one to say, "Mom, that child can walk. Put him down. Mom, he can get his own. It's okay." He's also there to curb the nurturing, to prevent the over feminization of the male species. I'm not saying that correctly, but do you know what I
you're
mean?
making sense. Yeah, you're making sense. There is that's why the difference between that is why it is so important when people talk about having a man and a woman, or a father. Now, ideally, I understand that there are situations where a woman has a child out of wedlock, which is not the proper way to do things.
I'm
We
not
understand that men
criticizing
abandon.
anyone.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
don't think it that way at
It's not
all.
a critical statement.
And even now, I feel like I have to couch my statements in, because like you have to think about single mothers, or instances of rape, or you have to think about men who abandon, all that stuff. Yes, ideally that stuff would not happen. In a perfect world,
Yeah,
we
but
wouldn't
that's
have
not what we're
men.
talking about.
Exactly. We're talking about masculinity, where a man stands up for his family, stays when he's supposed to stay, and doesn't leave. He's there. But one of the things that
You
they
know,
do. Go ahead.
well, it's okay, I'm gonna make my point better, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason that the male peacock's feathers are prettier. There's a reason that the male cardinal is better. There's a reason the male duck is different. And I don't know why I'm just picking birds, but there's a reason why the male of the animal species are made to be attractive to the female, right? And also be the protect. And for some reason, the highest thinking individual on the planet is the one that can't figure that out.
Exactly. And one thing that I think that Vance probably should have steered away from is because you tell a joke, because you like to have a beer. This is what he says: because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. When you open up the door for them to start talking about words that are used or jokes that are made, that opens up, unfortunately, a place that we really don't want to address, because I don't think that some of the things that Donald Trump says are manly or masculine. I just think they're crass and stupid, which again is a very distinctive male.
Okay, but not having tact is a character flaw. I still think it's not a toxic masculine trait. I would prefer that to be out in my face for me to truly judge what I think of the individual, than they're not saying that to me and they're cleaning it all up and presenting themselves as some, pretty picture in a suit. And then when you close the door, the insults fly and the comments come out. Like, I will tell you, I have no problem with him publicly slamming the governor of Maine yesterday. Zero at all.
That's pretty
I
funny.
do
Yeah.
not care. And I applaud it.
Well,
I want more of it.
but what you have to be careful of is it's like in a court. If you don't, if some things the prosecuting attorney can't bring up, but the moment it's brought up on stand or the moment somebody says something about it, then it's introduced and you can explore that. When it comes to conversations about masculinity, I think it's best if we don't include jokes or rhetoric, because then that opens the door up for people to start attacking. Let's stick to the basics of what being a man is. Being a man is again, taking care of your family, etc. But let's do this. I'm going to get back to this because there's another clip I want to play from Michael Knowles, which got me so worked up. I want to make sure I get to that before the break. But here's the rest of CNN's meltdown over JD Vance's words.
Yeah. Look, being a man is being rugged, resilient, reliable in my mind. Okay. But I think that, and I was just saying this earlier, that, and I think John Fetterman's also echoed this point, that the left really tried to define what bro culture is and foist it upon young men. If you read Barstool Sports, you're evil. If you got a kick out of those Coors Light ads from the 90s with the cheerleaders and twins, you're a misogynist. If you do drink beers with your friends and you do tell stupid jokes or say some stupid story, then you feel that way permanently. There is sort of no grace to the boys will be boys mentality. There are limits, of course, we know that. But I don't think there's been so much more less grace being shown toward what it means to be the sort of perimeter things of what it means to be a man in today's world.
Like, I don't want to speak for you all because I'm clearly, I'm a woman, but it seems like when accountability is introduced, that's when we get this entire lecture about what it means to be a man. See, the problem with Barstool, as you mentioned, maybe it was the rape jokes. Maybe it was all those kind of things that was the thing that people were a little bit disgusted by. Yeah. And it seems like every time I hear somebody say cancel culture or they're not letting me be a man, I always wonder, what is it that you really want to say? What is it that you're being held back from saying that you think is so poignant that you can't say? What is the joke that is so damn funny that you need to tell people?
If you saw and I'm sure it's similar to maybe, I don't know how frequent you guys are on Instagram. But if you saw the memes that are sent around into friend groups, they're just inappropriate. You couldn't show the memes. That's what I'm talking about. And by the way,
I don't care about those kind of things. I get this idea that we're trying to limit male expression or that there is some kind of force that's saying like, oh, you guys can't hang out with your friends. Look, my husband, I see how they hang out. Like, I don't really care about those things. But I think what he's defining there is that it's something a little bit more nefarious, because as soon as there was a limit put on what other people wouldn't accept in terms of what certain men were saying, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, you're limiting my expression.
Well, you shouldn't bully people.
Let me
you
just,
should
just
whatever
be a jerk. That's all people are saying. Just don't be a jerk.
You know what I mean? You could be powerful without doing that. And I think that certain people are trying to define their power by how they can treat other people and them be powerless to do anything about it.
How about you just don't joke about grabbing women by the genitalia and say that it's locker room talk? We all agree maybe that's not being
we shouldn't joke about killing the president.
I mean, now that last comment that dude made was awesome, because that one was like, how about you just not joke about grabbing women's genitalia? And he's like, how about you just not joke about killing the president?
Right. I mean, at first, listen, I feel bad. I think it's Solomon Jones.
This February.
I think so. Yeah.
That guy, if he's not married, he doesn't bring his balls to work with him. And if he is married, his wife has them in her purse. And there is no way to explain to someone who thinks that you're supposed to self-edit in the locker room that you're not supposed to self-edit in the locker room. You can't explain it to her. Not in a way that she's going to understand it. And I guarantee you that Jameel Hill has no problem making fun of a woman in the locker room or at the gym or in a private conversation. There is no way that she doesn't sit around and white bash in private. I'm going to promise you that. And you can look up why maybe she lost her job at ESPN when she wants to go off on Barstool Sports.
Yeah, well, what I think is so crazy about this, and I heard that. I listened to the as I was listening to that, I realized they say I think a lot, and I'm going to stop saying I think, because what I know is what they are saying is absolutely nothing to do with what masculinity is. I think that a
Right.
great masculine expression is Michael Knowles, and what Michael Knowles says here as he's on PBS. He's like the the what do you call it, the conservative du jour over there, the regular conservative guest. Here's what he has to say this week about transgenderism, and I thought this was so freaking awesome.
You mentioned you think there's a lot of progressive overreach that helped propel President Trump back into the White House, and specific to that, you've called transgenderism in particular one of those issues that you think moved people and moved the needle. You've also said previously that it should be eradicated from public life entirely. And when you were asked about that, you said that you were calling for an end to the ideology, not for an end to the people. If you have changed your view at all, please let me know. But I will confess I don't know what the difference is when articulated like that. So could you explain it?
Sure. If I say that I want to eradicate poverty, I'm not saying that I want to eradicate all the poor people. Quite the opposite. I would like to help the poor people by eradicating poverty. And so when I made my comments at CPAC a couple of years ago, I've now repeated it so many times, I think I have it memorized. I said, for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people who have fallen prey to this confusion, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely, the whole preposterous ideology at every level. And the reason for this, the reason why I would say, in particular for those who've fallen prey to the ideology, that we ought to do that, is because men can't really become women. That's not how human nature works. I have a great deal of sympathy for people who are confused about their sex, but I don't think it helps people to lie to them. So just as a matter of public life, I think we need to respect reality.
I will say, as you're saying that it's reality, it is a belief system that you hold. I mean, transgenderism is something that has been acknowledged by medical professionals. There's an entire
and rejected
body
by medical professionals.
By a few. There's an entire body
Dr.
of
Paul McHugh,
scientific and
pioneered
medical knowledge that backs this up, and that's what gender affirming care has all been based on in
Not
recent
really.
years.
Not really.
I will just ask you this, though. We're talking about, what, 1% of the U.S. adult population here.
30% of Gen Z self-identifies as LGBT.
Because more people, experts believe, are comfortable coming out and sharing the identity.
Or because
What I love about this, first off, she says we're talking about 1% of the population. Yeah, we're talking about 1% of the population, and what he's saying is that our policy is being guided by decisions are being made for the next generation of our kids, and for men and women's sports, and for lopping off body parts for 1% of the population. And she tries to be like, well, we're talking about 1% of the population, and you're saying this. He could flip that on her. I'm sure he's smart enough to do that, but it's like, you're making these changes as well for this 1% of the population. Let me play the rest of this real quick.
Because it's a social contagion.
It's a
You
social
believe transgender
contagion.
people make other people transgender? Is that what you're saying?
This is also backed up in the medical literature. There was a study in 2018 that showed that school children who are socializing with people who identify as transgender are much more likely to identify as transgender themselves.
Michael, you realize this is the same argument people made about gay people, right?
Well, I'm talking about the whole LGBT ideology.
So what he's saying there is that people are coming out as transgender because it's a fad. It's people that want to be accepted, want to be liked, want to have a cause. And I thought it was so fantastic because yet again, we're reiterating the truth behind the LGBTQ and transgender ideology. It is a belief system. It is not actually real or legitimate or scientific. This is the first hour. Stay with us. We'll see you on the other side. Oh, man, I tell you, I love that clip, and I hate that I didn't give us enough time, Erica. So if you want to say something about that when we come back, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm just like, this clip just sent me to the moon because I was so happy that we're having the truth of this continually put out there. Being transgender it is something that is faddish. The reason there are so many kids that claim to be transgender is because it has become so popular to say that you are. Did I lose you, Erica? Oh, I lost her. Well, while we're waiting for her, I'll say this real quick. This sponsorship that I'm about to talk about is from Rumble. It's extremely important, one that's incredibly important to the survival of Rumble as a company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for the small creator, and they didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they felt pressure to the Biden and Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you, and they are attacked in corporate media when they are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove free speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers because they don't get much of it. So watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you. But if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the same means, one major way that you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium and use promo code STUDIO. As mentioned, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're just happy if you watch us here on Rumble. So there is a QR code on the side of your screen. Go to rumble.com/premium/studio to get $10 off an annual subscription. And thank you so much for your continued support. We're going to hit a quick break, and then when we get back, we're going to talk about more of this. I absolutely love that Michael Knowles clip. And I love the fact that he was calm, he was collected, he was expressing compassion. I mentioned this to a person this week, this past week on Facebook, actually. They were saying, well, you support LGBTQ and you support transgender ideology and you support 80 genders. No, I don't support any of that stuff. I support treating people with compassion. I support loving people the way that Christ loved us. I support showing mercy to people. I support when that Minister Budd, when she asked Trump to be merciful, because the mercy that is expressed is not mercy that says, I accept you for where you are. I think that you are doing everything fantastic. We're going to let you have these gender affirming surgeries, etc. That's not compassion. What I'm saying is, if I want to be able to speak to that person's life, I have to show that person actual love and concern and care for their position and where they are. I have to meet that person where they are.
Yeah, are we live? Sorry, I had to use the restroom so bad. I didn't want to interrupt you. So
No
that happened.
problem.
But
I'm going to do the same to you. You talk. I'll be right back.
I don't even know what he was saying, so I'm probably gonna sort of, I don't know, maybe go off the rails on it. But how am I not I'm so hard. Okay, I'm more worried about myself, and if I'm going around lying to people who think that they can be a woman and turn into a man, or be a man that can turn into a woman, and I'm gonna say that's okay, and I'm gonna agree with that, then I'm lying, and how am I not then responsible for that? Why am I punishing myself and my own eternal, like, wherewithal for somebody who has a mental illness that's been allowed to have a turn into an ideology that's running rampant, and I'm not gonna be the problem. Not for my own self. I'm gonna look out for myself. At that point, right? I mean, why am I lying? Not gonna be punished for that in the same way that anyone else would, or lying about anything else. It's the same thing.
All
I
right,
think
here we go.
you know,
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to play the music real quick.
you're fine.
Welcome back to the Breakdown, folks. Thanks for staying with us. You can join us by going to rumble.com. You can also listen to us over on the Crusade channel, live radio, the way It should be. Check that out and join us there. You can also follow me on Twitter at BreakD Radio. You can go and follow Misinformation herself over there at NoelFan01 is what she is over on Twitter, because she's a big Alabama fan. And you can... You're welcome for that.
Let me go get my sister. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, baby. Then you can also check us out. Go to aaronbarker.substack.com. And just to mention again, I don't know when it's going to be released, but we will be recording our first subscriber exclusive podcast on Wednesday. We're going to be interviewing a gentleman about the Lamar Kendrick performance at the Super Bowl, why it was so pivotal and such a poignant moment in culture. So I thought was absolutely fantastic. So keep your eyes open for that. It will be dropping soon, and you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss out, and you don't want to be outside the cool kids. So go to aaronbarker.substack.com. Subscribe if you have not done so already to the feed. You're going to get the updated posts from our shows, and you'll be able to watch and interact with that over there. For the weekly show, you'll also be able to get the new burgeoning section of the website, Conspiracy 101, which is where we break down and talk about, or I'll be writing articles about, specific conspiracies and specific understandings of the world in which we work. That really excites me. That gets me really jazzed up. Because we have to understand what's going on in the world. In order to understand what's happening in the world today, you have to look at the foundations and the reasons why people are approaching and doing what it is. So it's like, I know that really doesn't make any sense the way that I said that. If you understand the origins of specific movements and then look at the results of what's happening now, then you'll start to you'll not only be able to understand why things are happening in the order in which they occur, you'll be able to see where they're going next and what they're doing next. I remember talking to my uncle 30 years ago, literally, like my uncle and I, he's about 12 years older than me, and we're really close. And we have these conversations all the time, but I distinctly remember him talking about how the LGBTQ movement and the push to accept that was eventually going to lead to pedophilia, sex with children, and pederasty, etc. And people are like, "Oh, that's crazy. That's the slippery slope argument's never going to happen." And we literally have people at TED Talks discussing the fact that just like a same-sex attraction is innate in a person, that we're now being told that minor attracted persons are like that innately, and they're pushing for those types of relationships. And it's a small population. But that argument of it's a small population does not hold weight when it comes to fighting against that small population. Because look at the way that they deal with racism. Racism that we see in the country today does not exist like it did 60 years ago. It is not the same culture that was around when Martin Luther King Jr. was the popular, right? It's not the 50s or 60s. It's not the Jim Crow South. We don't have people that are being lynched in their front yards. There are lynchings, but it happens with police officers and black men and women. But the way that racism exists now is not the way it was. We've all but eradicated it. Okay. But people are still fighting for that small percent of population who are Nazis, or who are Kenists, or who are looking for a way to eradicate the multiple persons of color or nationalities that exist within the United States. And they will say, well, we have to be, it's not enough to be against racism. What is the saying? Like it's not enough to be anti-racist or not be racist. You have to be against racism or anti-racist. It's like, there's a small percentage of those people that exist in the United States today, and yet we still have the NAACP, who is fighting, quoting fingers, for freedom for black men and women and other people of color. Well, we're doing the same. The small percentage of people who claim to actually have gender dysphoria or a physical issue when they're born with multiple additional chromosomes or multiple parts, genitalia, then we're fighting for the extremism of making that normal, right? And it's the same thing, but we're somehow being called the extremists because it's a smaller population that we're fighting against. So,
I
let's see.
mean, I don't know if you heard what I said while you were gone, but it was very selfish. So I'm just at the point where I'm gonna not be held responsible for lying. I have an eternity to think about. So for my own protection, I'm not going to acknowledge or lie and say that that is okay. I'm just not gonna do it.
Absolutely.
It's selfish. I'm now worried about myself because I can see that you have turned a mental disorder into a social ideology, and you're demanding that it be acknowledged as truth and fact. And I think those of us that allow that or say that that's okay or lie about it are the ones that are going to pay for it in the end. They have a mental disorder.
Right.
They get an excuse for not understanding that there's something wrong with them. We don't. That's
Yes.
just where I'm at.
And we have to know, we have to be able to dispel the lies and dispel the misinformation. And, so for instance, in that interview, that woman said, well, that the scientific community has accepted this, or the scientific, and he's like, well, the scientific community has also spoken against it. And she just brushes that off like, well, my scientists are the ones that I'm going to listen to. I don't, if you have, we've all heard this example before, but if somebody sets a glass of water before you, and they're like, oh, by the way, there's a tincture of arsenic in that glass of water. Like, hold on just a second. You poison the water. It's just a small percent of arsenic in the water. Like, well, I'm not going to drink that water. Oh, no. Don't be racist. You can drink the poison. I don't want to drink the poison.
Don't
it's
be
stupid.
racist.
Yeah, and it's like, why do we look at a culture that has a tincture of an actual issue, and then rather than saying those people, that small percentage of the population needs legitimate help, the boy that is losing in sports tucks away his Jimmy and then puts on a bikini and goes and plays beach volleyball against the women, or goes swimming in the same pool as women and then destroys them. That is not the same as a child that's born with real physical genitalia problems or gender dysphoria. That is not the same thing. And equating the same thing is insulting. A person that's born with an immutable characteristic like a different color skin being treated bad because they're black or because they're Hispanic, that is not the same as a man who dons women's clothing on the weekend being called coarse names because he's dressing like a woman. All right. To equate those two things insults what Black Americans and people of color have done to fight for their rights in the United States. It's completely different. And I would be insulted if I said that. I think it's insulting that women call transgender men women. I think it's insulting because for years, all we're told about is, everything that it takes to be a man. That's one of the reasons they have to destroy masculinity, is because the more and more that you destroy what masculinity is, the more and more you can make a transgender woman more like a woman. And I don't understand why feminism is accepting the defeat of their arch enemy, the penis. They have fought against having a penis for generations, and now they're just accepting a man beating the crap out of a woman in an MMA ring as acceptable. They are being defeated by their arch enemy, the penis, and they're accepting it. They love it. All they are just feminist cucks. Please beat me down. Please, you're a woman. You can do this. I think the reason that there's such an issue right now with feminism is because women can't be women without the help of a man. So now not only do men have to prove how awesome we are, we have to become women to show women how to be women. Okay, maybe that last statement was over the top, but still, I mean, it's like we have to mansplain to a woman how to be a woman because you can't be a woman.
Right? I mean, it's starting to get pretty pathetic, isn't it? Isn't it bad
is.
when you have to explain to the women that their lives would be much easier if they would just act like women?
Yeah.
I mean, Just don't. Oh, look, I put it in the chat. Should I stop him? No, you're not saying anything I wouldn't say. We all know that. And you're probably doing it with less four-letter words. So that was fantastic.
It is insulting. I think it's insulting to women as a whole and to the fight that women have gone through, because there have been, I mean, obviously you know better than I do. I don't have to mansplain about what a woman's gone through. You know what it's like. And now for them to just roll over and accept that it is okay that a man beats a woman up or takes away opportunities from women, and then you call that person a woman. I mean, it's insulting, and I don't understand how they can't see that.
Listen, if any of you want to know what the true feminist fight looked like and what it was and what it should have been, in case you're under my aged position, look up an interview with Audrey Hepburn and Barbara Walters and watch that interview. And that was feminism. That was women fighting for the right to support themselves, to be paid equally, to have jobs, to not need to have a man in order to own property or start a business or be able to have your own thoughts, to wear pants, right? Like, one of the questions Barbara asks her is if she owns a skirt, and Hepburn says, "I have one." And Walters said, "Do you ever wear it?" And she said, "I'll wear it to your funeral." Like, no kidding. That was feminism. That was women standing up for the rights to take care of themselves and to be allowed to function in society as members, like, that could get their own food, for crying out loud, and pay their own rent and have their own home. And it wasn't about this craziness. You guys can look that up. If maybe I'll even go find it and post it for you. But
Yeah,
that's what feminism was.
and it diminishes. It really does diminish the fight. It diminishes who women's are. It diminishes who women's is. It diminishes who women are. It diminishes what women have fought for, and it diminishes the creation, the created order. It diminishes what God has said and what God has done. And really, this is a fight. This is a rebellion against God. It is a rebellion against the Bible. It is a rebellion against everything that is taught as being normal. Because when people talk about, what is normal? Who is normal? The pinnacle, the paramount example of what normalcy is, or what a normal person is Jesus Christ. And when you turn it on its head, you say that Jesus wasn't normal. As a matter of fact, you get what we talk about, we're about to talk about in the bad theology segment, which is coming up right now.
You're teaching some bad theology. Your bad theology's annoying me. Oh, you're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure that you need.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is a section of the show where we talk about bad theology and discuss what is going on in the world of, Christianity and theology. And we head on over to a service, or not a service, but a public meeting where it was in Worcester County City Council. And this was on February 12th. They were trying to designate the city as a sanctuary for trans and gender diverse people. It's about 35 miles west of Boston. Like you should know where this is, Eric. You probably know exactly where this is.
I know exactly where it is. It's ridiculous. Oh my God, go ahead.
So this is just this is a segment of this that I want to start out with, because it gets better, believe it or not. This is the let's see. This is, oh goodness, where did the pastor's name go? This is a lesbian pastor, and the name is Julie Payne Britton, a pastor at the Hadwin Park Congregational Church, which is affiliated with the Progressive United Church of Christ. She identifies as a disabled cisgender lesbian. She sported a clerical collar, as she told council members, something that we really did not know about Jesus until now. So let's go ahead and see exactly what it was that she had to say about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Using the language of my faith, let me tell you this. The Jesus that I know would be right here in this gallery, lined up to speak during this public comment, standing in solidarity with the brave people here. The Jesus I know would be dressed in full drag and serving face, or handsome as a trans man, or wrapped in the garb of a non-binary person who knows one gender is way too small to capture their gloriousness. The Jesus I know would be at this mic with a trembling voice and a shaking body and tears that will not be held back, crying, "Make this city safe for my child." Jesus always shows up on the side of the vulnerable, and today that is us. Where are you going to show up? On the side of the vulnerable and the marginalized, taking a stand against the evil coming out of Washington? Or are you going to betray us? Hadwin Park and the good people here urge you to use your power and your privilege in a righteous way and to do your part to make this city a place where vulnerable and marginalized people can thrive. Tonight, please vote yes on 10B and 14B and on all the other equity issues you're discussing.
Can you wrap up? So that's one part right there. So just in case you all missed it here, the Jesus that she knows would be there, dressed in full-on drag, trembling and crying at this. Let's hear that again.
Full drag and serving face, or handsome as a trans man, or
Serving face.
garb of a non-binary person who knows one gender is way too small to capture their gloriousness.
Oh boy.
Right? Hey, man, you know Jesus put on a full beat of makeup now. Stop it. That is the most unbelievably misleading and ratchet crap. Like, who let her? I do think the girl in the background right there with the dark hair, she kind of keeps looking around like, are you guys okay with this? She's uncomfortable. She's uncomfortable, which I don't understand because she is sitting right in there with them as if she's part of the group, right? So she's wearing the pin that matches, so I'm not sure, but it's uncomfortable. Like who's not, don't put me in the background because I'm in full beat of laughter right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I mean, the fact that they would say that Jesus would be in full on drag, and it gets worse, by the way. The fact that they would say that Jesus would be in full on drag, obviously they don't know who Jesus is. And let me ask you this as well, Erica. When I think of a woman, I have never, ever thought that a drag queen is the idea of femininity. I mean, when tell me as a woman, why do these folks accept or believe that a drag queen, a man dressed up like a woman, that to me is a caricature of it. That to me is like watching SNL when it was funny, make fun of actors or politicians. It doesn't seem to me like that's a man actually trying to be a woman. It seems like it's an overt, over the top mischaracterization of what a woman is. It amplifies all of the stereotypes of a woman, that they have gaudy makeup, gaudy hair, all of this jewelry, the look at me personality or the mentality of, all I'm about is glam, all I'm about is bougie. I mean, it seems to me that it is a joke and that it would be insulting to women to see a drag queen dressed up like them and then accept them as a woman.
Well, I think they have to take that route. Otherwise, they have no legitimacy, right?
Yeah.
So
Like they have to accept
you
it.
have to, yeah. They in order to, it's sort of like did you take the shot? Because if you did, then there's no way we're ever going to convince you that that was wrong, because you'd have to first admit that you probably committed yourself to an early death. And then you could talk about what really happened, because you're a victim now, right? So if you are this person, if you are this drag queen, if you are and that's what you need in order, you have to legitimize it. Otherwise, it's just a joke and you're a joke. And then what do you do?
Exactly. And now here's this. This is another one that continues even better here with this. Let's watch this.
Need
one.
the city to protect me because the federal government.
Almost. Here we go.
The city to protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can. If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking right now. I don't want to be here.
Up,
I'm sorry. Am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here, so I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me. I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that the Nazis burned books on gender sciences first. Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans, LGBT people, and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me.
Okay, we're all done here.
Fucking pathetic.
Of course, we need to continue celebrating Black History Month because in spite of what's coming down from Washington, we all know that we all exist and we all need to be recognized for our existence.
But be aware that you are a guest in my house when you come. And when you come, know that there are strong queer and trans people in my classroom who will collect you with the quickness.
My name in drag is Dee Dee Delight.
That's a guy, by the
And
way.
my name out of drag, Louis Cosgrove Atienza.
Laddie LaRouge, he, they, in drag, District 3.
My legal name is Olivia D'Ambrosio. My public name is Livy Scanlon. My wife and I own a home in the Canal District.
I speak as someone who is always misgendered, like all the time. People refer to me as sir.
Like all the time.
Refer to as ma'am. I speak as someone who is afraid to use public toilets. I speak as someone who is a member of this community and is a queer person.
You have to imagine being me and my wife.
Okay, so that is it continues on and on. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, more of the Bad Theology segment. I mean, we could talk about this all day, but whoever it is that was misgendering that guy, what are you effing nuts? I mean, come on. I'm not a smart guy, but I think I would be able to get your proper gender correct, sir. All right, folks, keep it locked in right here on The Breakdown. When we get back, more Bad Theology and whatever it is that tickles our fancy right here on The Breakdown. I mean, honestly, that guy's like, oh, this is from someone who gets misgendered all the time. No, sir. No, sir. No.
It's ma'am.
It's ma'am.
I just can't. It's a really good thing I was there because let me tell you, when she was like, "You better be prepared for trans people to make you very unsafe," I was like, "Oh, I'm shaking, sister.
Bring it
I
on. Yeah.
am shaking." Like, are we meeting out back? Because I'm pretty
The
sure I don't need. I'm pretty sure I don't need backup.
Yeah, the GIF game right now by JB over in the Crusader Stadium chat room. I'm going to share this real quick. It's on peak today right now. Let me pull this up real quick. Where'd it go? 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 Turn that off. This is
Oh my God, that's
yeah.
such great. Game on fleek. Game on fleek. It is just you you don't know how how did the city then vote to remain that? Do they I mean, good luck with that because you're going to be Detroit. You're not going to get any federal funding for anything and there goes the way that you're giving any benefits to these people.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. How have we normalized standing in a house of government saying, I have the right to have a penis and be called a woman?
Yeah.
What in the world?
We've gone that far. We've gone that absurdity to that level of
Right.
absurdity.
I'm not going. And I don't care if you think it's mean. And I don't care if people are hurt by our government elected officials now saying, you're crazy and we're not putting up with it anymore.
Welcome back to the Breakdown, everybody. Thanks for staying with us during that break. If you're not, go to crusadechannel.com. You can join the Crusader Stadium chat room over there. The GIF game is on peak today over there. JB is dropping some hilarious GIFs over there regarding the past, the things that we talked about here with the councilman there in Worcester County up in Massachusetts. Let's see if
Did
there's
you just
anybody
say
else.
Worcester?
Is that what did I say?
I love
Worcester?
that. You know what? Yeah, just keep going. Just keep going. Just ignore that. Go.
It's like, say, what is it? Like if you go to a bar and you say Smithwick's, I'm sorry, you want to what now?
Right.
Let's see. Mental illness over in the chat room on the feed, the Rumble feed for the breakdown on Rumble. Deb says, if the transgender movement is supposed to be taken seriously, then what do we do about the children in schools saying they are animals and need cat pans in the classroom? Yeah, that's a really good point. Mental illness is no longer an illness was her question. And the Gifted Guru says they almost caved and got it in the Oklahoma, a litter box. Oh, they almost got a litter box for a kid over there is what he's saying there. And let's see. Deb says Aaron is like a clown show. What's that?
We talked this week about a girl who has posted a video of her litter box in her home and she requires her guests to use it. There are rules, there are booties, there are markers for your waste refuse. You scoop your own stuff, you bury it with charcoal. You know what? I'll share that with you. Maybe we can talk about that next week.
I would not go to that person's house.
Who would? Would?
You're telling me I have to crap in a litter box and clean up my no?
Yes.
Get a toilet.
It's in the family room, and there are snacks provided on the shelf right next to the litter box, so you can snack if you need to while you're in there. I'm not kidding you. I'm gonna send it to you.
I would I would go to Skyline, and then I would go to White Castle, and then I would go over there and blow that litter box through the floor.
There's a privacy curtain.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know, there's a privacy curtain. So. In case they're watching a movie, in case it's movie night, well, you have to go to the bathroom because it's all in the same room. Just so you know.
Oh gosh. Oh man, that would be mortifying to me. But I would make sure that it would be an experience that they never ever forgot. Like that guy's not coming over again. Well, thank you.
Wait till you see the booties in the cup that you wash yourself.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh, so here's this. Hillary Clinton's alma mater, Wellesley College, is now offering a queer Bible course. It says here that a private all-female liberal arts college in Wellesley, Massachusetts. Wow, but what is up with Massachusetts? Is offering students the opportunity to learn about the social construction of gender in the biblical world with a religion course titled Queer Bible, or should I say Queer Bible? It's fabulous.
Queer Bible.
Wellesley College, which boasts former First Lady Hillary Clinton, former Secretary.
I'm going in drag.
Go to drag. Oh, this is the only class that you're going to want to drag yourself into. It says that it says that they describe the 100 level course as an introduction to the Bible at the intersection of queer theory, biblical interpretation, and the historical study of the ancient Middle East. The course is classified under its Jewish studies courses, according to the school's website. Through an examination of queer readings of the biblical canon and the canon of contemporary queer theory, the class explores the social construction of gender and examines how people in the biblical world and ancient Middle East maintained and contested gender roles. The description adds that students will also explore not only the complex interaction between the categories of gender and sexual orientation, but also how contemporary expectations about biological sex, patriarchal structures, and the biblical world impede our capacity to understand the biblical text, explore the experiential varieties of gender in the ancient world, and appreciate the inherent queerness of gender. The course is taught by Eric Gerard, who serves as assistant professor of religious studies and obtained his doctorate in Hebrew Bible from Harvard University, according to his bio page. Now, I'm not a pastor. I'm not going to seminary. I do not have anything above a high school degree. And I can tell you that if you study the Old Testament, you're going to find that pretty much a lot of the patriarchs in the Old Testament hated women, and it was spoke about on the page, and they hated gays, and there was a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger issues in the Old Testament when it came to women and to gays. So I'm sure that if you look at that, what you're going to find is we really, really don't want to use the Bible to try to say that being gay is okay. You're not going to find it there. You're not going to find it there. So there you go. There's queer Bible courses, and
I would like to know, first of all, what is queer theory? And then could somebody please tell me the difference between contemporary queer theory and regular queer theory? And then I would die to see the biblical writings on queer theory in the Bible. Like, this is it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know what? I'm just going to start. This is hashtag Diana Ross, people. Every time I hear one of these things, I'm just going to think about what I told you about them playing Diana Ross during communion. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. This is a Diana Ross moment, my friends. You just got to move on. You can't do this.
I'm at a point right now. I mean, they're reading the Bible anachronistically, and simply what that means is that you're taking a contemporary understanding and you're trying to say, well, here in the Bible is where it fits. This is where we see that taught. No. What you're seeing is that you're distorting language, you're distorting the meanings of words, and you're changing it so that you can fit your ideology on it. I heard somebody say the other day, I read somebody said the other day, they're like, Jesus was a conservative. Like, first off, no, Jesus was not a conservative. Conservatives have tried to tether their teachings to biblical ideologies, but Jesus was not a conservative. If he were here today, I'm pretty sure he would not be a conservative. I mean, I don't understand this ideology where you think that you can take something from today's standards and apply it to the Bible. That's anachronistic. It's ridiculous.
I hope someone says that to me one day.
Oh man, I tell you what, it was nuts. I mean, actually, it was legitimately crazy when I saw that. I'm like, you're kidding me right now, right? But here, let's do this before we jump on to the next story. I want to talk about something that people will not say out loud. People are things that people are afraid to say out loud. Who is in control of America's nukes? It's not Biden, or it's not Trump, and it's not Kamala Harris, thank goodness. Meanwhile, we have Russian ships off the coast of Florida and full-blown wars in Ukraine and Israel. The world is at its most unstable point since World War II, and with nuclear weapons. The stakes are 10 times higher. So how do people like you and I stay safe? Every prepper needs to have RadioGuard Ace, the only FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds had it until now. That's why Rumble partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of RadioGuard Ace and the ability to prescribe it prophylactically. Get their radiation emergency kit with RadioGuard Ace, potassium iodide, Zofran, and a Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool in your arsenal to protect against a radioactive threat. So go to 5gfree.com, use studio code STUDIO, and save 15% and get your radiation kit now. That's 5gfree.com and use the promo code STUDIO, save 15% and get your radiation kit now. You can also click on the QR code on your screen right now, and that will allow you to get there. A lot of prepper tools and necessary things to do. Also, if you want to support the show, which we would love for you to do, if you go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Barker, you're going to get huge discounts. A lot of people are doing this, but if you want to help the program out, you want to have a great night's rest, be sure to do that. Just simply head on over to mypillow.com, use the promo code Barker the next time you need pillows or slippers or sheets or towels. They're all fantastic, and we get a kickback on that. And also go to aaronbarker.substack.com, click on the Breakdown Outfitters, and you can buy our stuff and make it your crap. Get hats and shirts and all that, and make sure you do that quick, because some of those things are classic and they're going to be going out of style very, very soon. Let's see what our next theology is saying. Have you seen the movie Wicked yet, Erica?
No, I'm not going to.
Oh, you're not going to?
No.
And why is that? Why are you racist?
I'm not racist, just not interested. Been there, done that. I've seen the musical on stage. I'm done. I'm over it.
Okay, I hate musicals. I don't like them. So I've never seen Sound of Music. I've never seen West Side Story. I've never even seen. You're gonna shoot me for this one. I've never seen White Christmas. I don't like musicals. It is annoying to me. And I did go to see on stage. We went to see Hamilton in October, I think is what it was last year. That was incredible. I had a blast seeing that. But I haven't seen Wicked. I've got no plans to see Wicked, but Cynthia Erivo, who is the woman who played the Wicked Witch of the West in that movie, she's actually now going to be starring as Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl. It was announced that the Wicked star and 3-time Oscar nominee will play Jesus in the upcoming Hollywood Bowl production of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Jesus Christ Superstar. The Emmy, Grammy, and Tony winners' performance at the iconic Los Angeles venue will take place August 1st through 3rd. Just a little busy this summer, she wrote on her Instagram about the news. Jesus Christ Superstar, which features lyrics by Tim Rice and music by Webber, is a rock opera about Jesus Christ's final days, according to a press release. It focuses on the complex relationship between Jesus and his disciple turned betrayer Judas Iscariot, and songs that are featured in the musical include Superstar, Gethsemane, and I Don't Know How to Love Him. The upcoming summer production of the cultural phenomena at the Hollywood Bowl will be led by Sergio Trujillo. So there you go. So Cynthia Erivo is going to play Jesus Christ. Now, you remember a couple of years ago when The Shack came out, the Shack movie was based on the book, but God in that movie was a black woman. Jesus was a carpenter, a male carpenter, and the Holy Spirit was an Asian woman. That was an incredibly interesting, and I remember speaking out against that, and people thought I was a horrible, horrible person because I dared talk about how the horrible theology in The Shack would infect and damage the understanding of the gospel and also our understanding of theology. People are like, oh, you're crazy. Don't worry about The Shack. And it's like, well, that looks like this is continuing to bleed over. And now women are playing Jesus Christ regularly, and it's accepted. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so, okay. First of all, there's everything wrong with it. So let's start there, right? Once again, I'm going to go to the weakness of the current mind of anything pretty much beyond a millennial, and even they are questionable. It's a marketing ploy, and it's brilliant. You have probably a couple generations who haven't even heard of Jesus Christ Superstar the musical. How
Right.
else are you going to get people in the door unless you put somebody current who's in there? Oh, and let's make it a woman. Oh, controversy and free marketing, it goes viral. It's if you want to fall for it, go. But I'm not taking you seriously. I'm not
Agreed.
taking you seriously. I mean, you got to play the ugly girl against Ariana Grande. God gave you a voice. I guess you probably should use it while you can because it won't last forever.
Yeah. And by the way, I pulled this up earlier and I wanted to show this when we were talking about the transgender confusion and the issues there. For those people that are obviously watching, for those that are listening, I'll describe this. Excuse me. This is my bad. Oh, I should have muted my microphone. I'm such an amateur. This is Baphomet. All right. Do you notice anything about you think about Baphomet there? Baphomet.
I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it?
I do not.
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know why you can't see that.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Well, I can't, but I can see it on my phone. So they can see it. Go ahead.
Okay, good deal. Okay, Baphomet. He's an occult representation. And it was originally used as the AI overview on Google says to describe an idol that the Knights Templar were accused of worshiping. Baphomet is often depicted as a winged man with the head of a goat. But if you'll notice some very distinctive features about the Baphomet picture here is the fact that there are breasts here, and this rod is a phallus. Right? This is supposed to represent an erect penis. So what we have here, and of course, with the way that the hands are expressed, one pointing upward, the two fingers pointing upward on the right hand, the two fingers on the left hand pointing down. If you've ever heard of the left hand path, that's part of this. That expression means as above with the right hand, so below with the left hand. That is speaking of a balance between good and evil that we all have inside of us. But Baphomet is a representation of the goat head of Satan, and it is a transgender anthropomorphic hybrid creature. And that is what we see in the world today, in the culture that celebrates transgenderism, is this being expressed and shown to us as being normal. This is the new normal for people. And I wanted to bring that up earlier when we were heavy into talking about the transgenderism, because that's what I think about when I see all this stuff about transgenderism. But here is a very interesting article, and I think that this is the way that we see church supposed to happen. And I said this a week or two ago when I talked about Christian socialism, and I think somebody questioned that in the chat room. This, I think, is church doing church the way church should at least be done to a certain extent. And I'm going to play this video here because it is very heartwarming. I love this. And I know that we bash a lot of theology, but I want to make sure that we talk about the great things that go on in churches. And here's one such story this week.
Triad Church is once again stepping up to help neighbors in need, buying up and forgiving millions of dollars of medical debt. Our Joshua Davis is in Winston-Salem with the moments those debts were burned.
On Sunday morning, over 2,000 people in Forsyth County had $2.5 million of medical debts.
In the name of Jesus Christ, who forgives our debts, we now declare these debts to be abolished.
Go up in flames, thanks to the Debt Jubilee Project of Trinity Moravian Church in Winston-Salem. Terry Belk sat in the audience, reflecting about his own struggle with medical debt after his late wife got breast cancer.
Even while she was being treated and I was battling prostate cancer, we were actually sued for the remainder of the medical bill when we had private health insurance, but wasn't adequate to cover everything. Well, I was invited here to see debt forgiven for so many people, and I was glad to be a part of it. And I consider it a privilege and an honor to be invited here to see that.
Ultimately, for him, it was forgiven, but he wants to see more moments like this one.
It needs to be a lot more of that, especially with these times that's coming up. I think a lot more people are going to be experiencing these kind of traumas.
Ripples have gone far beyond what we ever expected, and it's been a real blessing for a lot of people.
Reverend John Jackman has been leading Trinity Moravian Church in the Debt Jubilee Project since 2022.
As of today, we have bought and forgiven about $21 million in medical debt for North Carolinians.
He's working alongside other churches across the state, encouraging them to do the same things for their communities.
If every church would just sort of take responsibility for the square mile around it, what a changed world we would live in.
It's going to take grassroots organizations like this. It's going to take churches. It's going to take a lot of people coming together to address this and to be committed to this.
In Winston-Salem, I'm Joshua.
That is absolutely incredible. A church and other organizations and ministries in the surrounding area have bought and paid off $21 million in medical debt. I see that story and I think this is church being done right. This is church being done correctly. Now, I've seen churches do this with credit card debt as well. When they've approached different people and in their churches, you all kind of pay into this large pool, and then you end up paying off credit card debt and other debt of people that are really in hard times and facing hardships. When you look at something like medical debt, that's something that follows you. You can't, if I'm not mistaken, you cannot file. No, it's student loans that you can't file bankruptcy on. But when you look at the fact that so many people are facing huge medical costs and huge medical debt, over here in the Crusader Stadium chat room, there are people talking about medications and the cost of medications. And even through insurance, you're still paying $500-600 a month for particular medications. And it is such an amazing thing to me to see a church buying up and paying off medical debt like this. I just commend this. It makes my heart so happy to see this.
Yeah, I think that I wish it spread further than just church, right?
Yeah.
Like why aren't your communities like this? Why aren't you all invested in where you are and where you live and the people around you and how you operate? It just should be more like that. And I'm not even a person that likes my neighbors, okay? So I'm not the shining example of how this is done, because I should not have direct neighbors where I have to see you every morning because I'm not going to wave, right? And that's just it. I'm not doing that. I was the worst Jeep owner ever because I did not wave. Okay, I'm not buying in, but I do think there is a certain amount of community that's lost that shouldn't be, where people would help each other. And if we did more of that, we would have the government less able to step in and try to do it for us.
Exactly. I mean, to people taking care of people, people worrying about, and not worrying about stepping up and actually helping others. And the amount of folks,
Right.
and this is something, it's one of those ideologies or thought processes. I don't think people understand. They're like, oh, if we don't take the money in taxes, why, how are we going to support organizations of people in need? Like, how are we going to take care of both poor kids that lack educational opportunities, or they lack food, or they're unhoused, or all these different things? It's like you do realize that if you don't take money from people, that even in an overtaxed society, people still contribute greater amounts to 501c3s and to ministries and to churches. You do realize
Right.
that if you were to give back more money to people, that they would continue to still give to these organizations, and it would increase right now.
Right. I think the only downside, right? And I have to state this because it's in the background and obviously that church is not talking about it. But if they're paying off your credit card debt, they're not going to do it again, right? There are stipulations to that agreement. You no longer have credit cards. You've had to cut them up. Your accounts are closed. They're not just going to pay it off and allow you to just run
Right.
willy-nilly, right? Or if they're paying off your chemo treatment for your lung cancer and you're smoking 2 packs a day, you're probably not the candidate that's going to get those funds. And they may not say that, but you have to be personally accountable in order to qualify for that kind of help, I think.
Oh, exactly. And because I thought about that, I was like, wouldn't it be incredible? I would love to start something like that, where It's like, hey, look, we all have debt that we want to pay off, and what we're going to do is we're going to take applications from people that are facing uncertainty, and we're going to try to get folks just paying into this pool, and then we're going to take the greatest need and pay that off, and take applications and have conversations with people and talk about credit card debt and talk about financial management going forward. I would love to do something like that. Just the relief for a person to be able to pay off thousands and thousands of dollars in debt, because it's not your responsibility necessarily that causes a person to get credit. Now, I do understand that there are some people who just spend too much money, and they do so on credit cards, and it's stupid. They buy TVs, or they buy, clothing, or they buy accessories, whatever it is. But there are also people out there who don't make enough money to take care of their family. So when they have a credit card, they're buying diapers and baby food. They're buying formula. They're buying, toys for Christmas for their kids. They're buying food. They're buying the basic necessities.
I'm not talking about that person,
Oh, yeah,
right?
I
That's what
understand.
I'm saying. I'm just saying we should be transparent in saying that even a church, even a charity, is going to look at the person who's trying to qualify for this
Right.
relief, and it's going to be taken into account, even though it's a charitable thing.
Exactly. And I really feel for people like this. I hope that ministries like this continue, and I hope that they do this. All right, folks, look, that we just have a couple minutes left here. AaronBarker.substack.com is the Substack where you can go to. Keep your eye out for the show that's going to be dropping. We're going to be interviewing a guy by the name of Marcus Pittman from Lore TV, LOOR TV. And we're going to be talking about Christians engaging with culture, how Christians can change culture. We're going to be talking about Lamar Kendrick. We're going to record that on Wednesday night. It's not going to be live. We're going to record it on Wednesday night, and then we're going to post it on another day. Eric and I have been talking about the schedule. Wednesdays are going to be the best time for us to record. But as far as release date, we haven't discussed that as of yet. But that is going to be coming up this week. Erica, are you excited about that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Is it gonna? I don't see. It's hard. I don't really know the whole background. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth right now. I'm not sure what the format is. Is it always going to be interview? Is it same subject for the whole hour? Right? Like, we haven't really talked about it, you guys, but we're doing it because Aaron said we were doing it. You know what? I should probably just do that with my Substack. I should probably just throw a date out there that it's going to be out there, and then I won't have a choice but to have it done or look like a fool.
Rocky did it to me. And I've been like, he told me, he's like, just do it, man. He's like, you just tell people you're going to do it, then you have to do it. And I'm like, man, I suck at that. I suck at it. But then I'm like, you know what? He's right. He's absolutely right. Like, I wasn't planning on doing this Wednesday. I reached out to Marcus and I was like, hey, because I read the article he wrote about the halftime show. I was like, are you available for an interview? And he said, yeah. And then he actually asked if we could interview him today at noon. And I can't do it noon because that would put us at 1, 2, 3 o'clock, something like that, being done with the show, and I can't take all day to do that. But I had so I asked him, I was like, hey, what about Wednesday? Because I knew that's the day you're available to record. It's not always going to be about an interview. It's going to be but we're going to distill it to talking about a specific topic or an idea for, 1 or 2 ideas for an hour and a half, something like that. So it's going to take a lot of research on I'm going to say on my part, because I don't want to add anything additional to you, but there will be a lot more conversating and planning on the part of you and I, Erica, in the background, trying to figure out what we're going to talk about, what we're interested to discuss. And
God. You guys don't let him kid you when he says, I don't want to add anything additional to you. I show up on Saturday. Don't let him kid you. Okay. Like, there literally is nothing on my plate unless he asks me specifically, like, hey, can you read this? Or, hey, are you available for this? So I probably should do a little bit more research for a one-on-one interview. I mean, it's only respectful to the person who's coming in. So yeah, I got you.
Good deal. Good deal. And Deb, you're asking what time on Wednesdays? Well, the time that we record, it won't be live yet. I'm working on a way because I want to improve the audio and video. I want to improve the sound overall. I've actually, the King Dude reached out to me. Mike Church reached out to me. I actually reached out to him, but he needs me to send him some data on what I've got here to hopefully try to improve the systems that we do have. So I am going to be doing that to make it sound better and to look better. So right now it's going to be pre-recorded. I hope that at some point we can enhance the experience by presenting to people an idea where they can join in live. And that's part of your subscription base, is that you can now join in the show live and watch it happen. But I want the quality of the show to be better. So that's going to be something we work on first. Until then, it's going to be recorded, pre-recorded, and then released. And we're actually coming up on the end of the show over on the Crusade channel. And but not going to be, I'm going to say this, not going to be much of an overdrive today, if any at all, because I got I got some stuff I got to take care of today. But head on over there. And don't forget to share the show, aaronbarker.substack.com. You can go there. The show will be uploaded no later than tomorrow. Today's show will be uploaded. Share the show, tell people about it, discuss it with other people, chat with us over there on the Substack, because we just want to generate conversation about that. Let people know what we're talking about here and how we're trying to engage and change culture. We're also trying to have a good time, just hanging out and having fun and discussing a lot of these topics. All right, folks, until next time, thank you to everybody over at the Crusade channel. Maggie and the King Dude and Iaconus and JB, everybody that's joined us over there, and everybody on the Rumble chat here with the breakdown as well. Thanks for staying with us. Don't forget to share us and tell us everybody else about this. And until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. All right, there we go. Thanks to everybody who hung out with us over there, Erica, and I appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah. Thank you for telling them that, Erica. Saturdays are still live. This show, I'm working right now on tightening up some of the time frames, the clocks, etc. But when we get to the show that is the subscription-based show, it's going to be much more open, as far as much less restrictive as far as bottom of the hour breaks, top of the hour breaks, etc. We're only going to do so as far as my 44-year-old bladder will allow me to go before I gotta take a break. So that will be the difference. That show is probably going to be focused on one or two specific topics where we drill down on something, sometimes with a guest, sometimes not, as opposed to this show that is covering a multitude of topics and a multitude of discussions.
Amen.
Okay, good deal. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream over here, and then Erica, before you take off. All right, folks. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.